Earth beneath our feet is not still. It only pretends to be. Every mountain that stands proud today was once part of an ocean floor. Every ocean that now stretches endlessly once carried deserts, forests, and entire civilizations above its waves. And every continent we know, every line on our maps, every border we fight over, is nothing but a temporary design, drawn on a restless canvas. Scientists call this slow, eternal dance plate tectonics, but it's more than a theory. It's the heartbeat of our planet, a rhythm so vast that no human civilization has ever seen it complete a full cycle. We live in just a single moment of an endless geological story, a story that began 4.5 billion years ago, when molten chaos turned into the only living world we know. Yet here's what most of us forget: Earth doesn't rest. Even when our world feels ancient, it's still changing under our very eyes. Every few hundred million years, this planet reshuffles itself. Continents tear apart and crash back together to form supercontinents, enormous landmasses that redefine life, climate, and even the possibilities of existence. It happened before, with Pangea, Rodinia, and Gondwana, and it will happen again. But the question is when, and more terrifyingly, what will it look like next time? Imagine a time hundreds of millions of years into the future. Humanity as we know it may no longer exist. The stars above may have shifted, but deep beneath, the Earth's crust is still moving, inch by inch, silently dragging continents toward their inevitable reunion. In this future, scientists predict a new supercontinent may rise, Pangea Proxima, a single, colossal landmass where Africa, the Americas, Asia, and Europe merge into one. Oceans will vanish, seas will close, and what remains will look more like an alien planet than our familiar blue world. But to understand what lies ahead, we must first uncover what drove our planet to move in the first place, because nothing on Earth happens without reason. And if we can decode the past, the rise and fall of supercontinents before us, we might just see the future coming. 4 billion years ago, Earth was unrecognizable. The sky was orange. The seas boiled with molten rock, and continents didn't yet exist. The crust floated in fragments, colliding, sinking, and re-emerging in a chaotic cycle of creation and destruction. Slowly, the first stable pieces of crust, what scientists call cratons, formed the seeds of continents. They gathered mass, collided, and began the first supercontinent cycle. And each time Earth reshaped itself, life changed forever. When Rodinia formed around 1.1 billion years ago, the entire planet became a near single continent surrounded by a global ocean. It caused massive climate shifts. Glaciers spread near the equator, freezing Earth into what scientists call the snowball Earth. Life barely survived. Then, when Pangea came together around 335 million years ago, it set off another chain of chaos. Massive deserts, superstorms, and volcanic activity changed everything. And when Pangea finally broke apart, new oceans formed, new climates appeared, and with them came new life, including us. It's almost poetic. Every time the Earth destroys itself, it gives birth to something new. But here's the part that gives chills. This cycle never stops. Even now, the continents are drifting closer together again. The Atlantic Ocean is slowly closing. Africa is moving north toward Europe. Australia is drifting toward Asia. And scientists believe, in about 200 to 250 million years, the next collision will create the next supercontinent. The question that keeps scientists awake at night is, where will it form, and what kind of world will it be? There are 4 main theories. Each one paints a radically different picture of the future Earth. One predicts Amasia, a cold, polar supercontinent formed when the Pacific Ocean closes, bringing Asia and the Americas together at the top of the planet. Another imagines Pangea Ultima, where the Atlantic closes, pulling Africa and Europe into the Americas, a world dominated by vast deserts and mega mountains. Some see Orica, formed in the tropical belt, a humid and stormy world where oceans circle a ring of superland. And others predict Novo Pangea, where modern tectonic motion continues, merging continents in strange, unrecognizable ways. Whichever it becomes, one thing is certain: Earth is not done reinventing itself. Scientists like Dr. Christopher Scatese and Dr. Ross Mitchell have spent decades simulating these future worlds. Their models suggest that the next supercontinent will drastically alter Earth's climate and habitability. Supercontinents tend to trap heat, creating dry, unstable conditions. Volcanoes rage more violently, and the lack of oceans reduces the planet's ability to cool itself. In short, it's not a friendly place to live. If humans still exist then, they'll face the most extreme version of Earth imaginable. But the real mystery isn't just about geography. It's about pattern. Some geologists believe the cycle of supercontinents, known as the Wilson cycle, is more predictable than we think. It might even be tied to the magnetic flips of Earth's core, the shifting of its mantle plumes, or even, as some fringe scientists suggest, gravitational forces from the Moon and other planets. Could it be that Earth's entire geological evolution follows a grand design? Not intelligent design, but a natural rhythm, a cosmic heartbeat that everything else dances to? And if that's true, then the continents aren't just moving, they're breathing. Every rise, every collision, every split is part of a living cycle that defines time on a scale far beyond us. But this raises a darker thought. If supercontinents bring extinction and rebirth, then what happens when the final one forms? When Earth's interior cools, its motion stops, and the tectonic cycle ends, will that be the planet's death? Or will something entirely new be born from its silence? In the next part, we'll journey through the evidence, the patterns and the predictions that shape this vision. We'll uncover what scientists, historians, and futurists believe lies beneath the crust, and how it could decide the ultimate fate of humanity. Because beneath the maps and mountains, the Earth is whispering, and if we listen closely enough, we might just hear the future. Millions of years from now, the world as we know it will be unrecognizable. The maps hanging in classrooms today will become relics of a forgotten time, like ancient scrolls once describing a world that no longer exists. And the first domino in that transformation is already falling beneath our feet, because the Earth is not still, it's alive. Every inch of ground you walk on is slowly drifting, pulled and pushed by invisible forces from the planet's molten heart. The continents are like massive rafts floating on a glowing ocean of magma. You don't feel it, you don't hear it, but they're moving at the speed your fingernails grow. Every year, Africa moves north. Australia drifts toward Asia. North America inches westward, colliding ever so slightly with the Pacific plates. It's a silent ballet that has been going on for billions of years. And this slow, endless motion is building toward one ultimate event: the birth of a new supercontinent. When you look at a world map, it's easy to think this arrangement is permanent. But our planet's history tells a different story. Once, all the land on Earth was connected, a single massive body called Pangea. It stretched from pole to pole, a superland surrounded by the world-ocean Panthalassa. It was both magnificent and terrifying. Imagine standing in the center of a continent so vast that you'd never see the ocean, not even after a lifetime of travel. Deserts bigger than modern countries, storms that could last for decades, and creatures adapted to a world without boundaries. But then Pangea broke apart. The land cracked, tore, and drifted into the shapes we know today. This was not chaos. It was the planet's natural rhythm. Like a heart that expands and contracts, Earth's surface also breathes in cycles, merging, breaking, and merging again every few 100 million years. We're currently in the broken phase, but it won't last forever. The plates are already moving to reunite. Scientists believe there are several possible futures, several ways our continents might collide again. Each theory paints a different image of the next supercontinent. Scenario 1, Amasia, a world where the Pacific Ocean disappears. Imagine Asia and the Americas crashing together, forming one enormous landmass around the North Pole. The Arctic becomes landlocked, turning into a frozen desert, while the rest of the planet is dominated by colossal mountains, endless tundra, and fierce winds. Human civilization, if it still exists, would migrate toward the equator, the only warm regions left. Scenario 2, Nova Pangea. In this vision, the Atlantic Ocean keeps widening while the Pacific closes. Australia smashes into East Asia. Africa rams into Europe, erasing the Mediterranean Sea. The Americas merge with Asia, forming one continuous stretch of land from Chile to China. It's Pangea, but reborn, hotter, drier, and far more hostile. And then there's Scenario 3, Orica, a world where both the Atlantic and Pacific close simultaneously. Everything, absolutely everything, crashes into the center of the planet. The equator becomes a ring of mega mountains higher than anything Earth has ever seen. Oceans vanish, climate collapses, and the new world becomes an unforgiving, scorching land wrapped in dust storms and volcanic fire. But beyond all these theories, there's something deeper, something humbling. The continents aren't just drifting randomly. They're being guided by forces we barely understand. Some scientists call it mantle convection, the slow churning of molten rock beneath us. driving the plates like conveyor belts. Others suggest that supercontinents form where the planet breathes out heat, as if Earth itself is trying to regulate its temperature. What if, in a strange way, our planet is alive? Not biologically, but geologically. A vast organism made of stone and fire, reshaping itself to maintain balance. Every mountain, every ocean trench, every earthquake could be the planet's way of evolving. When continents collide, it's not destruction. It's transformation. Old mountains crumble, new ones rise. Seas dry up, deserts bloom. Even mass extinctions, as tragic as they sound, make room for new life. More adapted, more intelligent, more complex. So if you look at it that way, Earth's future supercontinent won't be an end. It will be another beginning. But here's the haunting question. Will we be here to see it? Human civilization has existed for less than 1% of Earth's history. We've seen empires rise and fall, discovered galaxies, and split the atom, yet all within a blink of geological time. If it takes 200 million years for the next supercontinent to form, what are the chances that humanity, or any species we recognize, will still walk this planet? Maybe by then, we'll have evolved into something else. Or maybe we'll have left Earth entirely, because as the continents merge, the planet's balance will shift again. Ocean currents will change. Atmospheric patterns will rewrite themselves. The air we breathe, the temperature we live in, and even the shape of the sky will change. And every time that happens, life has to start over. Imagine it, a far future Earth, with no Atlantic or Pacific, only one endless superocean. A single colossal landmass wrapped around it like armor. Skies filled with volcanic ash, red sunsets lasting hours. Storms so large they can circle the planet. Continents shaking under titanic tectonic pressure. No cities, no countries, only the bones of our civilization buried beneath layers of rock and memory. And maybe, just maybe, new life will emerge from those bones. Different, stronger, adapted to a world far more brutal than ours. They will find our fossils, our satellites, our ruins, and they'll ask the same question we ask about dinosaurs today. What happened to them? We are used to thinking of ourselves as permanent, but the truth is, we are only temporary passengers. Earth was here long before us, and it will continue long after we're gone. Continents will collide again. The planet will rebuild itself over and over in an endless cycle of creation and destruction, and somewhere in that eternal rhythm, the universe will whisper the same reminder. Everything changes. Nothing stays the same. Even as we speak right now, Earth is not still. It may feel solid beneath your feet, but it's moving. Every continent, every island, every mountain, creeping like a giant slow beast beneath the ocean of time. Australia is on the move. Each year it slides about 7 centimeters north, racing toward Asia faster than your fingernails grow. One day it'll crash into Indonesia, welding itself to Southeast Asia, crushing coral reefs into mountains, and creating a new Himalaya that will pierce the clouds. The Indian subcontinent did it millions of years ago, when it slammed into Asia and gave birth to the Himalayas. Australia is next in line. Now shift your eyes to the Atlantic. It's widening. The Americas are drifting westward, away from Europe and Africa, as if the planet itself is stretching its limbs after a long sleep. But that won't last forever. Tectonic motion is a cycle, not a straight line. Someday the spreading will stop, and then the pull will reverse. North America, now gliding away, will one day start to bend back, its western edge colliding with Asia's eastern frontier. Imagine Alaska kissing Siberia, ice meeting ice, forest meeting tundra, volcanoes roaring as continents merge. The Pacific Ocean gone, swallowed, a memory buried under mountains taller than Everest. And what rises from that collision? A super landmass, Amasia, the next chapter of Earth's continental story. But the Earth won't stop there. Africa continues to drift north, colliding with Europe, sealing off the Mediterranean Sea. The once beautiful blue between Italy and Greece, gone, turned into a range of mountains where Rome once stood. And the Red Sea? That narrow scar between Africa and Arabia will split open further, birthing a new ocean, maybe even a second Atlantic. Antarctica, too, is not as quiet as it looks. Beneath its ice, it moves slowly northward. When that ice melts, and it will, Antarctica could become a Greenland again, a continent of forests and rivers like it was millions of years ago. So imagine the Earth 250 million years from now. No Pacific. A single ring of land, all continents locked together again, surrounded by a vast global ocean called Panthalassa. The question then is, what would this new world look like? Would humans, if they're still here, even recognize it? Maybe North America and Asia will form a single supernation, stretching from what used to be New York to Tokyo. Maybe Africa and Europe will merge into a new empire, their histories fused into one. Maybe Antarctica will become the planet's new paradise, warm, green, alive. If that happens, what would we call this new world? Would it be Pangea Ultima, the last Earth? Or would we give it a new name? One that carries the story of all the lands that came before? Tell me, if you could name the next world, what would you call it? Comment your version of the future down below. Because maybe, just maybe, your name might outlive us all. As the continents crawl toward one another, a silent countdown begins. A countdown not marked by clocks, but by earthquakes, volcanic fire, and the dying breath of oceans. The world that raised humanity is beginning its slow transformation, and whether we survive it will depend on what we do before it happens. Because when the continents collide, the planet's design will change forever. The equator, once a cradle of life, could become an oven of heat and storms. The poles, once frozen and lifeless, could turn into the new gardens of Earth. Our blue planet, the symbol of balance and beauty, could become a world of extremes. But let's not forget, this isn't the first time Earth has tested life. And every time, life has fought back. Every extinction gave rise to something stronger, faster, and smarter. Maybe this time that test will be us. The merging continents won't just reshape land, they'll rewrite climate. As mountains rise, they'll change how winds move, how rain falls, and how temperatures spread. When Africa collides with Europe, the Mediterranean Sea will vanish, replaced by towering peaks higher than the Himalayas. When the Americas kiss Asia, the Pacific, once the vastest ocean, will be gone, leaving behind a massive desert where waves once danced. The planet will enter an era of volcanic chaos. Lava rivers will carve through continents. Ash clouds will darken the sky for centuries. And beneath that chaos, the core of the Earth will beat faster, heating the mantle, thickening the air, and pushing life to its breaking point. Human civilization will be forced to migrate, not by choice, but by survival. Imagine cities collapsing beneath earthquakes that last for days. Skyscrapers swallowed by newly opened chasms. The map of nations erased overnight as coastlines sink or rise hundreds of meters. We'll be left asking one question. Where do we go when the world itself moves? Humanity's survival won't depend on technology alone, but on our ability to adapt emotionally, mentally, and spiritually to a planet reborn. Those who cling to the old world will fade. Those who evolve will inherit the future. But what would that future look like? Let's fast forward hundreds of millions of years. The continents have merged into one, a monstrous landmass stretching from pole to pole. The air is thick, hot, and dry. The ocean? A single endless expanse, salty and deep beyond comprehension. The stars look the same, but the world below is alien. Humanity, if it still exists, no longer lives the way we do. Cities aren't built on the ground, they float, suspended by magnetic fields or anchored above. Volcanic vents where heat becomes power. We've adapted to the planet's rhythm, learning to live with it, not against it. Our descendants have evolved, physically, intellectually, spiritually. They don't measure time in hours, but in tectonic cycles. They don't think in centuries, they think in continents. They understand what we never truly did. That Earth doesn't belong to us, we belong to Earth. Still, even in that distant future, humanity will face the same hunger, the same curiosity that drove us to cross oceans, split atoms, and reach for the stars. We will look at the endless horizon of the new supercontinent and wonder, what's beyond that? And maybe we'll go even further. Because if the planet itself is uniting its land, maybe we too will finally unite as a species. No borders, no nations, just one civilization surviving together on one massive Earth. But unity often comes through struggle. The merging continents won't be a peaceful process. Volcanoes will tear through cities. Dust clouds will block the sun. Ice ages and fire ages will alternate like breaths. The planet will cleanse itself, and only the resilient will remain. Some scientists predict that when all land combines, Earth's temperature could rise beyond anything humans can survive. Carbon trapped for millions of years beneath the crust will be released. Oceans will evaporate. Rains will turn acidic, and the air might shimmer with heat so intense even metals could melt in open air. That's the point when Earth will stop being the planet we know. And if we're still here, we'll face a choice. Evolve or vanish. Will we develop new forms of life that can breathe thick air, absorb solar energy directly, and live in extreme climates? Or will we abandon this planet entirely, drifting into the stars in search of a younger, more forgiving world? Maybe that's why we look up at the sky so often. Because deep down we know this planet isn't our final home. But here's the most haunting thought of all. What if this cycle of continents breaking and rejoining happens on every habitable planet in the universe? What if tectonic motion is the universe's way of forcing evolution and its way of making sure life never gets too comfortable? Maybe that's why intelligent life is so rare, because most civilizations never make it through their planet's rebirth. And if we're the exception, if we're the one species that does survive through the merging of worlds, then we'll carry something no other species ever did. The story of a planet that tried to destroy us and failed. We'll remember the mountains that swallowed our cities, the skies that turned red, and the oceans that dried into salt plains. And in that memory we'll find strength. Because survival is not just biology, it's faith. Faith in life itself. So when the continents collide, when the oceans die, and when the sky burns, remember this. The Earth has ended before, and every time life has found a way to begin again. Maybe we're not fighting the planet. Maybe we are the planet, experiencing itself. The continents are one. The oceans have fallen silent. The sky glows a strange amber, thick, heavy, and eternal. This is Earth, 250 million years in the future, the birth of Pangea Ultima. But something is wrong. The rhythm of the planet, the heartbeat that once pulsed through oceans, forests and winds, has started to fade. The core cools ever so slowly. The magnetic field weakens. Radiation begins to seep through the thinning shield that once protected life from the fury of the sun. And for the first time in billions of years, Earth feels tired. The continents, once alive with tectonic motion, grind against each other like broken gears. The supercontinent traps heat inside its vast interior. Deserts stretch for thousands of miles. Storms rage for centuries. The few surviving species are forced to evolve in unimaginable ways, burrowing deep underground, hiding from ultraviolet hellfire. Humanity, or what's left of it, has become unrecognizable. No longer flesh and bone, but a hybrid of carbon and code. We have merged with our machines, not as conquerors, but as survivors. We have built cities beneath the crust, silent sanctuaries, carved into the cooled magma of ancient volcanoes. Artificial suns light our corridors. Recycled air fills our lungs, and yet every generation looks up at the ceiling of stone and wonders, what happened to the sky? Above the surface, the planet looks abandoned. Skies shimmer with heat so dense it bends light. Rivers have vanished, leaving behind canyons like scars. Mountains taller than Everest rise where oceans once danced. It's a graveyard of continents, a masterpiece of destruction, painted by time itself. But even this isn't the end, because the Earth is not dying alone. The sun, too, is changing. It has begun to swell, burning hotter, expanding outward. Its flames licking closer to the orbit of Mercury, then Venus, and soon it will reach us. As the supercontinent locks the Earth's rotation, days become longer. A single day might last months. The side facing the sun scorches under endless daylight, temperatures soaring beyond 100 degrees. The dark side freezes in eternal night, cold enough to crack stone. Between them lies a thin line, the twilight zone, where life clings desperately to existence. But even that narrow band is shrinking. Every year, the habitable strip narrows, until there's nothing left but silence. And in that silence, the planet remembers. It remembers when it was young, when blue oceans shimmered beneath a golden sky, when forests sang and rivers ran free. It remembers the laughter of its creatures, the cities that glowed in the night, the rockets that touched the stars. It remembers us. Yet life is stubborn. It always has been. So when the surface dies, life retreats underground. And when the underground can't sustain it, it moves upward, into orbit. Humanity builds massive arcs, floating sanctuaries that circle Earth, collecting what remains of atmosphere, water, and DNA. These are not ships. They are memories, each one carrying the story of the planet that made them. And from orbit, humanity watches as the Earth burns. Volcanoes erupt in unison. The mantle convulses like a dying heart, and the last blue spark fades into darkness. But something else happens, something unexpected. As the planet's surface melts into glass, tectonic stress releases a final burst of energy from the core. A wave of molten light sweeps across the world, creating the last aurora the Earth will ever see. It stretches beyond the horizon, not green or purple, but pure white. A final heartbeat, a farewell, and then nothing. Silence, stillness, oblivion. The Earth becomes a ghost world, orbiting a dying star, whispering its story through the cosmic void. But here's the twist. This is not an ending. It's the universe resetting its board. Every supercontinent cycle, every extinction, every collapse, it's part of a larger design. When one world falls, another rises. And perhaps somewhere out there, another planet, another version of Earth, is just beginning to form. Maybe a new ocean is filling with life. Maybe new continents are drifting apart. Maybe somewhere, another species is looking up at their sun, wondering if they're alone. We were never meant to last forever. We were meant to witness forever. And that is what makes our story beautiful. The Earth taught us that creation and destruction are not enemies. They are partners in the dance of existence. When the continents collide, they destroy. When they drift apart, they create. The universe thrives on chaos, and from that chaos, life always finds a way to whisper, "I'm still here." So when you look at a mountain, a river, or even a handful of sand, remember, you're not just looking at Earth. You're looking at the memory of stars, the echo of collisions, the ashes of creation itself. We are all fragments of that collision. We are the universe, trying to understand its own heartbeat. If you've stayed this long, you're not just curious. You're part of the rare few who listen when the universe speaks. So hit subscribe, join the journey, and keep exploring with me. Because this isn't the end of Earth. It's only the beginning of what lies beyond.